invite. Angel, I sent you a new invite through Up City, through your new email. So if you saw that come across and you want to do Up City, all right, Angel.
I don't want to sound negative, but they have sent me people trying to buy a lot for $20,000 financed.
Okay,
I don't want to
what
say
you need to
negative,
do is,
but I'm going to do
okay,
it.
but wait, you have a criteria in there that you can do. So you can set tiers in there that you don't want to receive leads under 100,000, under 200,000. You don't want to receive leads for leases. So you can set up your profile in Up City the way you want to receive these leads.
Okay.
And ultimately,
Okay.
it's up to you. You know, if you're a savvy real estate agent and you know about a company called Divvy and you want to receive leases, not many other realtors are going for that stuff, right?
That's a good point too, as well. You can flip that lease into a sale.
Do you
through
know
Divvy.
anybody who knows about Divvy, Angel? Huh? Like, because you told me about it.
I know about it.
I know you do, because you told me about it.
There's no such thing as a crappy leads. Just some of them needs more work. At the end of the day, you have to create a bucket and throw all those leads in there. You work the hard one, you work them hard. The ones that are, you know, are going to happen very soon. And then the other ones, you just throw them in the back burner, but you keep working them. You know what I mean? You nurture them and you build that relationship and you get them ready for a purchase. That's my thought. I always try to put a positive spin on it. So there is no such thing as a crappy lead. Just throw it in the bucket and work it.
And I signed up for Facebook leads, and anybody who's ever done that is like, garbage, you know, that sort of thing. And I just kept working it. And I was getting a lot of leads. I was getting like 5 to 10 leads a day. And, you know, the people who I had a decent conversation with that wouldn't basically say, oh, I didn't click on that or whatever. Cause like you had to click on it and then you had to like submit it. And there was like 3 different things. Like there's no accidentally submitting it, but I heard like, oh, I don't have a Facebook account or, oh, this and oh, that. And I mean, it was just ridiculous.
They get creative, right?
Yeah. But the people that I actually had a decent conversation with and was like, hey, you know, how about we get together? I'll teach you exactly what it is to buy a home, what you need to do, the qualifications you need to make, blah, blah, blah. And you know, I had conversations with them, and it was just like Freddie, it's you know, you throw everything in that big funnel, right? All the sales model thing, and then sales pop out, right? So like November last year, I was doing this last year. Had started, I think, in February. November last year was my first closing. It was like a $16,000 closing, $540,000 home is what he ended up buying. And then I had like 2 or 3 more that popped out of it. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work for those closings, but I made a decent buck, and I got an extra probably 3 or 4 closings out of it.
Not only that, I remember back in the foreclosure days, things were selling really cheap, and I had a bunch of investors that I worked with, and they'd suck up all these $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 properties. All of a sudden I get a phone call, hey, Freddie, and he's bought 10 properties from me, but then he says, I need something for my aunt or for my mom, for myself, and I want to spend $1 million. Now you got $1 million sale. So, you know, you never know what that person's going to do, who they're going to refer you to. You know, that's just some food for thought, Angel.
Okay, somebody besides Freddie, tell me the contract I'm looking for here. We're looking for a listing lease agreement.
A lease listing agreement.
Yeah, that too. Anyone? Bueller?
Oh, wait, real quick, before you get into this, Jeremy, can you touch real quick on Workplace in Facebook?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so if you already haven't, HomeSmart is moving over to Facebook Workplace, which is like a more simplified.
Go into RSA. There you go. So we're replacing all of our Facebook groups. The Florida Agent Connection, the HomeSmart Referral Group, the HomeSmart Ideas Group, all of those pages are going to be disappearing in the next 90 days. And they have all been put, and they've all been transferred into what we call Facebook Workplace. And it's where we can collaborate throughout the whole United States, all of the agents, in one controlled space. So all the groups will be now put in there. Those other ones are going to go away. So make sure you go in there, participate. You're going to have access to documents. You're going to have access to everything that you're doing now, referrals, all that type of stuff is now going to be in Workplace. And how do you sign up for Workplace?
And away we go. So click on your name.
Go into your RSA account.
Yep.
Click on your profile, which is your name. Hello, Jeremy Porter.
Hello, Freddie Rodriguez. All right, where do you go from here, Freddie?
So if you notice the tabs, you got general, web options, accounting, payments, schedule and vacation, integrations is the one you want.
Clicky, clicky. Claim your workplace if you
And there it is.
There it
Claim
is.
your workplace. It's as simple as click on that. And enter, and it'll give you the one-time access code. And it's in there. Just hit continue. And now you create a password for it.
This is so challenging, Freddie. What do I do here?
And you're in.
In there, like
minute.
somewhere.
Yeah. And so everybody, I mean, obviously, it's a new platform. We're expecting all 25,000 agents to come in, but that's not, you know, even on our present platforms. I mean, we have over 7,000 agents in Arizona, and there's only, I think, 4,000 in the group. So we're going to see that some people, some agents don't want to participate and stuff like that, but they're your groups. HomeSmart agent community, you have HomeSmart ideas, you got the Florida agent connection, and the HomeSmart agent community, that's all the agents throughout the nation. So if you're looking to do a referral in another state, you want to look somebody up, you want to chat with somebody, you have chat features in here, you have a whole bunch of stuff. You can post all companies, things you have in there, there's notifications, and it's all in one spot. You have access to me. So if you're looking for someone, you can actually chat with me. So it's another way of communicating with me.
Freddie,
Yes.
quick question. So by joining in here, do we already have automatically access to everything, or do we still have to kind of join every subgroup in there?
You just have to go through the steps that you just did. You're already in there as an invitee. So all you have to do, your invitation's already in there. So all you have to do is go in through the steps that we just showed you through your Real Smart agent profile. And then once you sign up, your profile automatically pops in.
No, I already claimed my account there, but I
Okay.
just didn't know whether I had to kind of join every little group that I was
Well, you
interested
can
in.
join whichever groups you want, and you
Okay.
can remove yourself from whichever groups you want. So if
Okay,
you don't want
okay.
to, you know, hey, you know, go venture into the groups that are in there, look at it. Hey, this might be something I might be interested in. If you want to join, go ahead.
Freddie, do you only access that through RSA?
No, you could actually access it through Workplace or Facebook.
How do you access it through a workplace
Um,
without going into the RSA?
okay, so you should have gotten an email once you sign up with a link.
Okay.
And then once you have that link, that'll give you access to Workplace right directly through Facebook. And you know what? I'm just learning it as well, Sabina. So
I want to do it another way, Sabina. I just showed you.
And I just
I know you showed me how to sign up.
I just
Okay.
showed you.
I get that part, but then do I go on Facebook and it'll be on Facebook? I'm confused on where I find it after I sign up.
Well, if you look at the link up
get the
top,
app.
it's homesmart.workplace.com.
Okay. So put that on my, save it as a bookmark or something.
I would save it as a bookmark. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not as savvy. Jeremy, do you know anything different?
Nope. I got the app. I got the app on my phone.
I got the
Oh.
app on my phone as well.
What does that look like?
It looks like Facebook.
A little
but-
purple W.
A W?
little-
Okay.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little
W
purple
with a
W.
circle around it, like an @ symbol.
Oh, Jeremy is here on the screen on the upper left
yeah.
corner.
There
You
we
can
go.
see the logo
here.
there.
Yeah, there it is.
Are all Facebook or not Facebook, HomeSmart's going to this platform?
Yes, nationwide.
Okay.
All the groups are gonna disappear. We're gonna be just in here, and this is gonna be a group just for us.
I didn't want to do it, but then I heard that the referral group is moving exclusively to this and they're gonna shut it down. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up.
And we can sign up now, correct?
Yeah, we
just
want
did.
you to, because these groups are gonna go away in the next 90 days, slowly. So, yeah, get in there, start playing around with it. I'm starting to learn it too. I don't know it as well, but it's not too hard. It's all provided by Facebook, so it's kind of similar to what Facebook does and how it works.
Yeah, everything I've looked
So
at,
go
I'm
in there
like,
and play
oh, this
around.
is just like Facebook.
Well, it is Facebook.
It's the meta.
Is Palmer House gonna be here too?
Yeah, well, if you notice right there, Todd bringing her, oh, go back, get out, get out of there. Well, now he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, he was putting a comment there. So yeah, Palmer House is in there. Oh no, that's Todd Stumney, our
Yeah.
Chief Industry Officer. But Todd, our broker from Georgia, was in there because he was just nominated top managing broker in Georgia by, I forgot who it was. And Angie as well. So yeah, everybody's in here.
Yeah, Freddie and I were a little disappointed. We weren't even nominated. Come on, guys, what's up? I'm just kidding. All right.
All right. So
That got
please
awkward.
sign up. I encourage it. You're gonna be seeing more announcements about this. Obviously, we want to get you all transferred over. So please, when you get the opportunity, go in there, dip, and start diving in and having some fun, and start making some connections throughout the country.
Yeah. All right. So the reason you guys are all here, let's delve into that.
Jeremy, 1 second. I just did that and I don't have that link to log in on my RSA like you did.
Because they didn't
You
want
go to
you
your
to join.
profile.
I don't have
integrations.
that claim workplace account
Okay.
thing.
So you went to integrations,
Yeah,
and it's like we don't
Okay.
want you here.
I don't have that.
Do me a favor, Sabina, shoot us an email. Actually, shoot Agent Services an email and copy Jeremy or myself saying, hey, I'm trying to get into Workplace and claim the account, and I don't have it on my integrations tab.
Okay, thank you.
And copy one of us on it, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
They might be trying to tell you something, Sabina.
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't want you. No, we just kidding.
Oh boy.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I asked the question: what listing agreement are you using, people? Anybody be afraid can answer this question. Even Southern Trust Mortgage. Come on, Southern Trust. It's on the screen.
Well, in Florida, we only have one. Well, we have two, one for commercial and one for residential.
Well, when I did the search, I just typed in lease.
Contract to lease?
No,
Nope.
contract to lease is actually a proposal to get into a lease agreement. It's like a letter of intent, basically, but it is a binding contract.
Okay, residential lease for single family home?
So
What
we're not
is-
talking about leases. We're talking about listing agreement for a lease.
Oh,
yeah.
listing agreement for a lease. Okay,
So if you guys ever get a rental listing, this is what you need to do.
exclusive right to lease listing agreement.
There you go.
Brenda only does 10,000 a month and above. So, yeah. Anyway, man, crickets today.
Hey,
All right,
10,000 a month rental is a good commission.
Minimum 3,000.
Oh, come on, Brenda. Raise your standards. Let's go. All right. How about exclusive right to lease listing agreement? Anyone like that one? Does that sound good?
I think that's better.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's what I said. Yay.
That's what Brenda said from the get-go. I just wasn't listening. I'm sorry, Brenda. All right. So owner's name goes here. Broker is HomeSmart, not Brenda Lark.
And not Freddie Rodriguez and not Jeremy Porter. It's HomeSmart.
You can put my name down.
I mean,
Just
you
make
can
sure-
put our names down, but
Make sure I get the commission.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the rule. If you put mine or Freddie's name down, you have to pay us.
How do you know which agent it goes to though?
Well, you can put HomeSmart in care of Brenda Lark. How's that?
Okay,
And at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be signing this thing and initials on it, right?
And normally
Right.
at the bottom, like a sales contract, right? Your name is down there as the agent, right? And ultimately, you're putting it in RSA, So
And you're actually, if you notice right there, it says, I don't need to sign this. You guys can sign this. Okay.
yeah,
Authorized associate, which means you.
okay.
You're
Same thing
allowed
with,
to sign your own listing agreement. Just make
Same
sure you're
thing.
doing it right.
yeah, same thing with listing agreements, you guys. You don't have to send it to us. You can, that's fine, but you
Correct.
don't have to.
And if you do send it to us for signatures, then make sure if I'm signing it, I'm going to initial each page also. So make sure fully. If you're going to send it to me for one, send it to me for all.
Right over here.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's go through this bad boy. All right. Authority to lease property. Owner gives broker the exclusive right to secure a tenant for the real and personal property described below, beginning the start date, right? Let's say we're going to list this bad boy Friday. That's weird. 17th day of June. I don't think it and ending. Who's got some suggestions here? What's probably the minimum you want to take a lease agreement for? A lease listing, not lease agreement.
3 months,
I would say a lease, right?
although we sure don't need that right now.
Yeah,
Maybe a
I mean, you
week.
probably need a day, maybe a week. But yeah,
Well, rentals have gotten really expensive. Let me tell you, rentals are actually higher than mortgage payments right now. So
that's why me and my wife are buying. We love the neighborhood we're in. We're like, oh, let's just stay here another year. Landlord jacked up the rent $400 a month. I'm like, let's buy a house.
So if you think inventory on sales are short, check out the inventory on rentals.
Yeah. Hey, Brenda, what do I put right here on line 2A?
The property that you're listing.
Absolutely. So 123 Main Street, 1234 Main Street. No, that's too expensive. So we'll do Orlando, Florida 32803. Why not? What goes on the next line below it, Renee?
The legal description, I mean, it's self-explanatory.
It's right there, but where do I find it?
That's a
Where
good
do you,
question.
Yeah, where do I find it?
where do you find it? The
I'll
legal
give you a little help. I'll click on the MLS
On the
here.
MLS, guys,
Well, yeah, but let's
Single
hypothetically
home.
pretend
apartment.
it's never been listed on the MLS. Where do I
Oh,
go then?
never. Oh,
Right,
Property appraiser,
the records.
and
Oh.
Okay.
on
So
the tax
what do I
tax
click on?
record.
All right. Hold on.
Tax
I love all the participation. This is great.
IMAP, tax rolls.
Tax rolls.
Tax
Okay, I'm a fan
rolls.
of Realist. Is it okay if we go to Realist?
I'm a fan of public records.
Eh,
We'll go straight to the horse. Go straight to the horse. Go right to the county.
let's do it. Okay, so see if there's any other Jeremy Porters out there that own property. Oh, here we go. Ooh, Winter Garden. Jeremy
So
Porter.
click on the folio strap. No, that's going to take you to a map. Click on the
There we
folio
go.
strap number. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so right here, that's what he's talking
Yeah.
about, folio strap.
Which is actually your property ID number or description as well as this folio strap. So,
Too bad this is gated community. I would go up and be like, hey, bro. What's
so if you
up?
notice, this actually didn't take you to the county website. It took you, this is not the county. This is still the MLS.
Yeah. I'm in the MLS.
Okay. But it is pulling off public record.
Okay. So where's my legal description? Whoop,
Right there.
found it.
There.
Right there.
You guys are on
Just
fire
copy
today. I
and
love it.
paste.
Everyone's like, I know this one. Copy and paste.
Now, if you can't get to the county website through the MLS or whatever, just go Google your county and just Google, like, for example, Orlando's what? Orange County Property Appraiser's Office. Google it.
Orange County. Oh,
County
it just
paper-
popped up.
And I can tell you, you can do this in any county in the United States. You can look up, these are all public records, okay?
There's also a website called Netra, Metro online. And it has access to all the counties in all the US.
So this one, property search, and you just type in the property address. And this is straight from the horse, right? County website.
Quick question, does Form Simplicity pull all this if you start at the beginning?
If you do it through, I think there's a little tab called tax auto prop.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. So this is the house my wife and I used to live in. We renovated it, and this was before the reno even happened. This is an old photo. Because we got out of that in 2020. So anyway, so yeah, that's another way. Go directly to the appraisers, as Freddie was saying. And you can type
And this is good to know when you guys get any type of listing, a sale listing too, because let's say you're in communication with only one party, the husband or the wife, but they're both on deed, right? So you're gonna need both signatures for the listing agreement, and you're gonna need both signatures for any sale agreement, right? And anything that goes on, because they're both owners. So this is a good way to find out who's on title.
and who's on first. Okay. So appliances. Personal property, including appliances. So this is obviously we're putting the stove, fridge, washer, dryer, that sort of thing, right? I'm not gonna.
Dishwasher, micro, disposal, blah, blah, blah.
If they're leaving something in the back that's not attached to the property, like a shed or something, you know, just make sure it's here and make sure it's on your listing, right? So personally, I type in everything else and I leave this blank and I fill this out at the property, okay? Because I want them to give me a detailed list, okay? All right, occupancy, property is not currently occupied, is currently occupied by landlord, tenant. If tenant occupied, lease date expires. When's the lease expire, right? So sometimes you'll get into a situation where it's currently leased and there's a tenant in there, they're vacating on, you know, whatever, maybe end of July. And, you know, you're going to list the property before, you're going to state that the property will be available August 1st or August 10th or something like that. I give time for the property turnover. You just want to have as much information as possible, right? Any questions about that before I move on? Okay, rental rate and terms, rental period and rate. So yearly, monthly, weekly, seasonal, interesting. So obviously in Florida, we have different types of rentals. You're probably not going to use the yearly, but maybe, who knows? Monthly is probably the most common. If you're doing maybe a short-term rental, which you're absolutely allowed to do, or seasonal rental, you know, maybe you got some snowbirds coming in and they want to rent it for, you know, the season, but you have to explain the season. If it's 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, you know, whatever. If it's 1 month, you're probably going to be monthly. So yeah. Now, Freddie, what would you say? Go ahead.
Jeremy, before you go any further, I just want to make something clear.
Yep.
Just because you're doing seasonal rentals does not make you a property manager.
There you go.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All you are doing is securing tenants for those seasonal rentals. You are not getting contractors. You're not collecting rent every month. You're not doing any type of property management. You are securing a tenant, and that's what you get paid for. Okay, this is not property management. You are a leasing agent. Okay, basically.
Okay.
So please don't confuse the two of them. You're not allowed to do any property management at HomeSmart. Only your own properties. Obviously, if you own it yourself, you can do that, of course, but you cannot do property management at HomeSmart. And the reason for that is because it's too much liability in that. And there's really no way of tracking. I can't track what you guys are managing, how much you're getting paid. Nobody can track that. And your broker's supposed to be in knowledge of everything that goes on within your business. So we don't do property management at HomeSmart, but you can do seasonal rentals as a leasing agent. In other words, putting it on the MLS, securing it, doing the documents, doing the lease agreement together with the landlord. But that does not mean you have to go out and find a plumber for him or you have to go, get an electrician for him, or you got to go collect the rents every month. That is property management, and you get paid a fee for that. Okay, this is totally separate. This is leasing. You are getting them a tenant.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so back to the contract. What was your question, Jeremy? I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. I appreciate the explanation. I'm sure others do as well. Okay, so yearly, like let's say it's just a standard long-term lease, right?
12-month lease.
12-month lease, right?
So
You do here.
before you keep going,
Yep.
we are not allowed to do more than 1-year leases in Florida as a real estate agent.
Why is that?
Okay, if they're gonna do, it would have to be done by an attorney. That is a statute in Florida. So if they want to do 2 years, you'd have to do 2 separate leases, or provide a lease that's provided by an attorney and or the seller is themselves. Okay, but we cannot perform 2-year leases as a real estate agent. You'd have to do 2 separate leases. All right. Now, if the seller provides its own lease agreement, that's fine.
Does
Okay.
two separate leases, is that, so you're saying to just fill it out the same way and just have 2 of the same lease?
You would have to have
Agreement?
2 of the same lease, one
But they would be
for 1
different
year and
dates?
one for the next year, Wes. Yes. Either
Okay.
that, or the seller can provide his own lease, his or her own lease that they may have, that's prepared by an attorney, or they can have an attorney prepare a lease for them as well. But these leases that you, this is not a lease agreement, but this is a listing agreement. You cannot lease for more than a year, okay?
So you do so if you wanted to lease for 2 years, you do it simultaneously in
Correct.
one setting?
Yeah, you do simultaneously. You do a contract for this year and a contract for the following year.
Can you renew after a year? Can you do
Yeah, you can do a renewal, but that means a separate lease agreement, right?
Yep, same thing.
Yep, same thing. There you
How
go.
would you get paid up front for both leases, even though the other?
Well,
lease
that's a
hasn't
discussion
started?
you have to have when you're taking the listing.
So Wes, to answer your question, I did in Chicago, I did a lot of leasing and whatnot. We actually got paid a decent wage to do so. So it was nice. It was like little pocket money. I did 108 1 year when I actually counted how many leases I did. I owned my own company, did property management. It was a different situation, right? But I'm just trying to say, like, when I would do a lease, I would only do 1 year at a time, right? And then when it came up for renewal, if I'm doing nothing but renewing the rent, I would say, okay, it's half month's rent. So I would charge 1 month's rent to get the property rented for the year and pay out the other half month's rent, similar how we do, commissions. And obviously this is not practiced in my area anyway. I understand Miami's different and different areas are different. So maybe in your area it's different, but in my area it's like $50, $100 or something like that. And
So yeah, Central Florida is totally different, and some parts of Northern Florida, once you get down to like Palm Beach, Broward County, which is Fort Lauderdale, Miami-Dade County, they actually pay you off of the gross lease amount. You're not getting a referral fee like you do in Central Florida. So Central Florida, you're going to see a lot of $50, $100, $250 lease fee or referral fee, because people don't want to do rent, or agents don't really want to get into rentals in Central Florida.
No, please
But
don't
down in
misunderstand.
Miami, you get a half a month or 10% of the gross. So if the rental amount is $2,000 a year, your commission is $1,000.
$2,000 a year? Oh, okay.
$1,000 a
half.
month. If your rent is $2,000 a
Okay.
month and you're charging half a month's rent, your commission is $1,000.
Okay, so you could charge whatever you want, but if you're taking a listing and you're putting it out there and everything like that, you don't want to show it to every single. I mean, that was the nice thing in Chicago, where we didn't have to show it to every single person. Like similar to like listing a property on the regular MLS, like for sale, where buyers agents are going to blow it up and bring you something. In this case, if you're paying out, what I've noticed anyway. Right, if you're paying out what most people would consider a decent commission, like half month's rent, for bringing you a tenant, then a lot of other agents are going to show it for you, and it's going to rent much faster. And just my 2 cents. Again, there's no price fixing here or anything like that. Like you can charge whatever you want.
Yeah, I would, if I were taking a rental listing, I'd try to get a 1 month rental. So if it's a $2,000 rental, I'd try to get $2,000 as commission, and then I would, or maybe a little less in this area, Tampa and Orlando. You might want to do $1,000 for a rental and pay 250 out or 500. It all depends. That's all negotiable. You have to, consider what the time is being used and all that, and if it's worthwhile for you. Okay.
Okay.
It might be a listing a buyer that just bought it and they want to rent it out. So obviously you're going to keep helping that client, right?
Specify any service or fees such as water, garbage, association dues, etc. These are included in the rent. So this could be, some HOAs include cable and internet, right? Could be lawn service, could be water and garbage or water, sewer, garbage, that sort of thing.
Yeah, if it's got if it's a condo, then and water's usually included, sewer's included, garbage removal's included, association dues.
And again, fill this out with the owner, have them dictate and tell you what's included. Don't just guess. I mean, obviously, if you look up the previous listing and you're like, oh, well, the previous listing says that, went away. Like the property I always pull up for like examples on Gifford. The lawn care was included for $60 a month, right? So if I'm the landlord, I'm just paying that $60 and saying, okay, well, you get access to the clubhouse and the pool and the lawn care is included because it's only $60. And then I know that the tenant's not going to make the yard look like poop because they're not maintaining the lawn, Does that make sense, y'all?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda Lark.
Now on single family homes, just remember all utilities are the tenant's responsibility, right?
Yep.
Unless the landlord has an agreement set up, like he's, and he jacks up the rent and says, okay, the electric's included. I've seen that as well. So just be careful with that type of stuff, okay?
Yeah. And that could be like for like a vacation rental, it's being rented monthly.
Correct.
And it's,
Internet's included,
Yeah.
electric's included, water, everything's included because it's a seasonal rental.
Yeah. So it could be like that, internet, electric, just like Freddie was saying. Okay. Advanced rents, deposits, and fees. Advanced rents and deposits will be held by owner. We're not going to hold it. So it's got to be the owner.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
don't have escrow at HomeSmart, so it's always going to be the owner.
Yep. Non-interest bearing account, tenant to receive 5% per year, simple interest. Any balance of the interest will accrue to owner, broker. Always just scratch out broker, put Jeremy Porter, right? Obviously, I'm just kidding. So
No, actually, the right way to do this is a non-interest bearing account.
there you go.
And that's the landlord's responsibility. This has nothing to do with our accounts or your account or anything like that. In other words, you're advising the landlord that he or she should have a non-interest bearing account, and that's where security deposits are to be held. Otherwise, if you're gaining interest on security deposits, you're supposed to share that interest with the tenant because it's a security deposit. And that's a state law. Can't do anything about that.
Okay, so advanced rents. So the way I understand it, correct me if you have a different understanding, Mr. Frederico. Advanced rents would be above and beyond, I guess you put in.
Advance rent is anything paid in, you always pay rents in advance, right? You pay on the first.
Yeah.
And then you live the month out. So advance rent would be first month and any other month that you're collecting. So it's very typical in Florida to see first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit on a rental. Now, it all depends what part of Florida, you know what I mean? And that can always be negotiated. Let's say the tenant has very good credit. You can collect 1 and 1 security deposit and 1 month's rent. It all depends. Everything is local. Some places just can't hold up 3 months rent coming in advance, but that's typically the norm. They want to see you have money.
Okay, so if you know, and again, I always check this with the owner.
Yeah,
Right, with the
this is the
landlord.
owner's decision, not yours. You know, obviously you're going to try to get 3 months, but it, you know, that can be negotiated. Hey, if they have good credit or not, you know what? Let's just do 1 month security and 1 month rent. Or you can do 2 months security deposit and 1 month rent. You can schedule, you can work this out however you want. Just remember there's repercussions to everything, right? And it's a discussion between you and the landlord's decision.
John has a question in the chat. He says, is there any requirements to verify IDs of the owners on for sale or listing or lease listing agreements?
There's no requirement, but I would definitely do it. Scott from Consumer Title actually put out a couple of emails last month about fake sellers, people posing as sellers, and signing contracts and stuff and collecting earnest money deposits and stuff like that. And yeah, just be careful with that. I always do your due diligence, right? You're taking a listing, you better find out everything about, not everything about the owner, but find out about the association and everything else. And I would do my due diligence, yeah. Well, you want to find out also if they're married, so you can find out who needs to sign this, right? So yeah, do your work.
Okay. If the owner wants to charge a pet deposit, refundable, non-refundable, right? I would always recommend some kind of pet deposit. As doing property management in Chicago for 10 years, you know, we had this, for example, we had this little tiny dog that must have had the bladder the size of a pea because it peed all over everything. We're talking 2 floors plus a walkout basement, and it was like majority of carpet, did $10,000 worth of damage. Had to remove all the carpets and everything like that. So pet deposit, you know, whatever the owner
I've
feels
even
comfortable.
seen people charge pet rent. They
Yeah,
had it, they
absolutely.
had an additional fee to the monthly.
Mhm.
So it's an extra $50 a month on the rent if you have a pet instead of a pet deposit.
Yep.
So don't be surprised if you see that as well.
How would you do that on this contract, the pet rent?
You would write it in the additional terms.
Okay,
There's a slot for you here.
okay.
Okay, so credit report fee. How
You can also put it, you can also put it under other. You see where it says other?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you can't type anything else. Okay.
Nope.
I was gonna
I
say
don't think that's
50,
a good number.
50 per month. Maybe. That's how I would do it.
There you go.
Okay, credit report fee. So there's all different services out there right now.
The MLS, I think that we have offers Rently.
Mhm.
And I think that charges the tenant. The tenant has to go in there, create a profile on Rently, I think it's called.
Mhm.
Products and services. And I think it's like $35 for them to go in there and fill out a rental application, which goes to the landlord, to you and to the landlord. And then from there, you can see if they're worthy of even applying for the association, right? Because you want to know who you're dealing with before you, any association is going to need a lease, right? So before the seller or the landlord signs a lease, you might want to put them through your own application process, right?
Mhm.
Or that one there might rental. I don't know which one it is. I know my sister was using it the other day.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at least if nothing else, check this out, right? It's,
Yeah, tenant screening, my rental.
Yeah. Okay. And some of these services won't give like an actual, you know, credit score. They'll be like red, yellow, green kind of thing.
Yep. Yep.
And if it's red, you know, maybe you want to charge a bigger deposit. Like if it's $2,000 a month, maybe you want to, you know, 10,000, 6,000. But ultimately, that's the seller's, the owner's decision, right? The landlord's decision. Don't make that decision for them. Just like Freddie said yesterday, don't give them a number, because then at the end of the lease time, if, well, you said, you know, a deposit of this and they cause this much damage, you know, they might be coming after you for that. Okay. So whatever it is, look into it, I've seen a lot of $50, $60 per person.
Yep. And then the association is going to charge them another 100, 150.
For like
And that's
screening.
per person. Yeah, for screening.
Mhm.
And they're going to do a background and a credit check.
Okay. Okay,
They're looking
association
for,
approval.
backgrounds, they're looking for felonies less than 5 years and any other stuff.
Now, it depends, my wife and I have rented down here since we moved down here 6 years ago, and we've never been screened by the association, so it just all depends, right? So check into it, call up the association, get them on the phone, figure out what the rules are, and that sort of thing. Okay. Broker obligation. In consideration for the owner's agreement to enter into this agreement, broker agrees to use diligent effort to lease the property, furnish information to assist. So these are all the obligations, right?
Or the
obligations.
services you're providing, you're going
Yeah.
to be providing. So
Absolutely. So display appropriate. So you just go down the list and check whichever ones. If you're not going to put up like a for rent sign, don't check this box, right? This is where I'd ask the owner, because it's going to help you to put up the for rent sign, to attract more people, driving through the neighborhood and whatnot. But maybe it's in a condo and you're not allowed to, or maybe just there's a neighborhood restriction and you're not allowed to. Okay. Use the owner's name in connection with marketing or advertising this property. I don't know why you would need to do that. Use the lockbox system to access and show the property. Clicking that bad boy. Request a credit report on prospective tenants at the owner's expense. Broker makes no representation as to the truth or falsity. That's interesting.
falsified.
Of
Falsity.
information, right? Falsity. I need to keep saying it, apparently. Provided by the prospective tenant or the financial integrity or fitness and character of the prospective tenant. CYA.
So this is if the landlord themselves wants to do it, right? Prospective tenant at owner's expense. So this is if they want to do their own background check and they're going to pay for it.
Okay. So whatever,
Yeah.
just go through all of these things with the owner and check whichever are applicable. Okay. Any questions about that?
And some landlords are picky.
All right. Advertising. Broker agrees to
Go back up
use-
for a second.
Just kidding.
Jeremy, just do the next line. Execute leases on behalf of owner. What does this mean?
No, you're a property manager.
Yeah.
It means you're signing
Means
for the owner.
owner must execute a special power of attorney authorizing the broker to lease the managing and to lease property on owner's behalf, which means you're not to be signing leases, okay? You can provide the lease, you can fill out the lease, and then you have tenant and owner sign, right?
Absolutely.
But if the owner tells you, oh, no, you signed, I'm going to make you my property manager. No, absolutely not. You need to have a special power of attorney. And we don't do property management at HomeSmart. So this would never be checked off for us here at HomeSmart, right? And then the rest are self-explanatory. Final inspections, you should be doing that anyway. You should be taking pictures of before they move in. It is not your job to go take pictures after they move out. But unless they're asking you to list it for lease again. Does that make sense? So once the lease is fully executed and they've moved in, your job is completed.
I had a question, Freddie. So if, so I know someone had asked me to, like do some managed property for him. He asked me if I could do that. I haven't been doing it, but it's here in Georgia, but you're saying that down in Florida, you simply can't do it, period, as long as you're working for HomeSmart.
Correct. It's against company policy.
Okay. I need to check with Todd,
And you're gonna notice that almost 95% of the brokerages out there that do sales do not do property management in Florida.
It's a lot of
Most-
liability.
Most brokerages that do property management only do property management, which is a good idea to connect with one of them. Because if you have a buyer or seller, you can do referrals to them and they can do referrals back to you because they don't do sales. All they do is property management. So if you have an investor that came and bought a property and they need a property management, have a relationship with a property management company that only does property management and it's not going to steal your sales, right? Obviously. And you do referrals back and forth
okay, thanks.
and you still get paid, right? On a referral. So
Absolutely. Moving on. Okay, advertising. Broker agrees to use diligent effort to advertise the property as broker deems advisable, including advertise the property on the internet unless limited in 4A(I) or 4A(2). I guess that would be 1. Below. Okay, so opt out check if so, display the property on the internet except the street address. I personally think it's silly. If you display the street address, people can drive past, check it out, see if they like the area, like the neighborhood. But there's also something to be said for people calling you directly if they want the full address. So, owner does not authorize broker to display the property. Now we're in 2 here, right down here. Owner does not authorize broker to display the property on the internet. Owner understands and acknowledges that the owner selects option 2. The consumer will conduct searches for the listing on the internet, will not see information about the listed property in response. Personally, I wouldn't even take this listing if they want to check box number 2, because that's going to severely hinder your ability to get the property leased. Any questions about that?
and these clauses are actually in the sale listing agreements as well. So it's good to get familiarized with those. Yeah, I wouldn't take a list. Oh, I mean, I hate saying no, but if I can't advertise it, how am I supposed to work it? Or how am I supposed to sell it or rent it for you? It's really tough.
Yeah, and that's a great question for the owner, right? If they don't want to
And
display it on
especially
the
in today's
internet.
market, everybody's on the internet. Everybody does everything on their phone.
Yeah.
You know, nobody comes to the office to look for rentals anymore. Back in the day, we'd have a rental book with all the rentals available and they come into the office and remember the little brochures at the diners that you'd get, you know, these places are available. That's back in the day. Now I don't understand it, but anyway, sorry.
Those stone tablets that you had to chisel out the MLS information on there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Freddie.
Showing my age here. I'm sorry.
You
No,
just
it's
showed
not
your
that.
age,
You just
yeah.
There definitely used to be a lot more expense involved in taking a listing like that.
Right,
All the
Sean?
printing, all the publishing,
Yeah.
there used to be so much.
You have to put them in all the Denny's and all the stuff. Yeah, it was crazy back then. Yeah.
Freddie, I just put a website on the chat
Okay.
for a management company here in Orlando, and
Okay.
they paid good commissions for referring a property to them. And then whenever the seller is ready to sell, I mean, the owner is ready to sell, they send it back to you.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love it.
I put it on the chat.
So do you get paid $555?
Getpaid555.com. I actually saw something on Facebook. You put that on Facebook the other day too, right? In Workplace. I saw.
Yeah, because
Thanks,
somebody was
Angel.
asking about management companies there. Yeah.
Thank you, Angel, for sharing.
Mhm.
I'm gonna open up a company called Get Paid 557. No, I'm just kidding. 556. I was gonna say 666, and I'm like, oh, never mind. It's a different kind of thing. Okay, owner's obligations. We're running out of time here, so I'm gonna accelerate this a little bit. Owner's obligation. This is all the stuff that the owner is obligated to do, right?
These are all pretty much disclosures. Obviously,
Okay.
there's nothing to fill in.
Well, this right here, C, this is important, and I do want to.
Okay, yeah, that one, yes.
Right. So, you know, if it's got a pool, you know, how what are you getting, right? Are you getting a mailbox key? How many? You know, pool access, key fob, something like that, garage door opener, stuff like that. So you put all this stuff in here So you have an account of it. And then when the tenant moves in, it's going to be the same kind of thing. You're going to put that on the lease. So then when they're turning everything back in, you know exactly what they're turning in and how much we have and everything like that. Okay.
And it's important because when the lease is ended and they don't turn something in, you can actually claim it from their security deposit. You know, if they didn't give you back a mailbox key, it's going to cost you money, right? Or the owner money. So they can claim that on the security deposit. Let's say the common areas have a special key, those Medeco keys or whatever you call them. Those keys cost about $75 each just for the key. So yeah, make sure garage clickers are not cheap, you know, and you got to get a universal one and program it. It's a pain in the butt. So yeah, keep an inventory of what you give and what you get.
So compensation, this is the best part. Okay, the owner agrees to compensate the broker the following, including payments applicable, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're skip down to A on the next page here. Amount of compensation. Owners agree to pay broker the following fee. So there's different ways. You don't need to fill in all of these, right? Just pick one. All right. So you got percentage of rent due to each rental period. Okay. So maybe if you're doing like a monthly or weekly rental, this would be applicable, right? Percentage of gross value of the lease. So some people charge, I've seen, 12% of the gross value of the lease. The main one I've done is
go through what the gross value means. So the gross value is you take the rent and you multiply it times the amount of months, right? So if it's $1,000 a month and you have 12 months, it's 12 times $1,000. That's your gross value of the lease. That makes sense?
Yep. So then if you're doing 15% of that, it's $1,800 is what you're getting paid.
And then from there, you have to pay the tenant's agent if there is one, right?
Yeah. So this is typically what I would do. Just easy peasy, easy to understand, right? 100% of first month's rent. Or again, in Central Florida, I've seen a lot of 50% of first month's rent, and then you're paying out like that $200 to whatever for the co-op, $100, $50 or whatever for that referral fee, if you will.
And I've seen two different fees. I've seen where they offer what they call a lease fee, which means you're actually participating in the lease with the tenant and you're doing the execution of the contracts and you're involved in the whole transaction. And then they have a referral fee, all right? And the referral fee means you're just passing the tenant over to the landlord's agent and they're doing everything. But so it's kind of like a finder's fee. So you might see referral fee of $100 and lease fee of $500. 500 means you're involved in the whole transaction from soup to nuts, which means I need a copy of the lease agreement, copy of the MLS printout.
And either way, Freddie, right? They're going to need a copy of the lease agreement.
Correct. Well, no, on a referral, all I'm going to need is either an invoice or a referral agreement with that agent. So, hey, here's, for example, Jeremy works for whatever company. Hey, Jeremy, I have a tenant and he likes your listing. Can I pass them over to you? Some of them will tell you, well, you have to show it in order to collect the referral fee or whatever. So you go show it and then the listing agent will take care of everything else, which means you're just passing it over to them. That'll be that fee. So you have a referral fee and then you have a lease fee. Lease fee means you're showing, you're doing contracts, you're putting in the offer with them, you're doing, soup to nuts. You're passing the application to the buyer, to the tenant, sorry. You're helping them with that. If there's an application process, you're involved in the whole transaction.
Quick question. Do we still have to pay the $350 to HomeSmart?
So for rentals are 10%.
Okay.
Plus $10 for your risk reduction with a minimum of $50 and a maximum of $350.
Okay.
Time and manner of payment. B, broker will deduct its fee from rent collected by the broker after said rents become due and owing to the owner. If said rent is insufficient to cover broker's fee, the owner will remit the balance within blank calendar days of which rent becomes due. So meaning like, you know, maybe you're collecting, I want to be cautious about how you phrase this and how you do it and everything like that, right? But if you're collecting the first month's rent and they're making that payable to HomeSmart and that's your fee because it's 100% of the rent, like I fill it out up here, okay? Then the security deposit is made payable to the owner, okay? Don't get that twisted. Don't do it the other way, okay? The
Yeah,
security
you
deposit.
cannot collect commissions from security deposit. You can only collect commissions from rental payments. That's a Florida law.
Okay. Or you got option B and C down here as well. Owner will pay, or you could, so you can have like first month's, last month's security deposit and say, here, this goes to the owner. And then broker's going to say, hey, I'm going to invoice you, you know, cut me my check, blah, 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 did my job. The property's rented, person's in there. And then they're just going to write you a check separately. Okay.
Correct.
Within how many days? 10 days, 5 days, 30 days?
And they're gonna write that check to HomeSmart, and then HomeSmart will pay you because you can only get paid by your broker. So
Absolutely.
landlord pays the broker, broker pays the agent.
Okay, protection period, this is similar, right, to a listing agreement. Let's say owner wants to be shady and say, hey, my listing agreement's about to expire in 2 days. If you just come to me directly, then I'll cut you a deal on the rent, okay? So I typically always put in 180 days here, 6 months. Never had to use it, but that's what I put in.
And don't go less than 3 months.
Okay, so cooperation
Suggestion.
and compensation with other brokers. Okay, this is where how much is the other person getting paid? Okay.
Right.
Early termination, distribution, dispute resolution, that sort of thing.
So think about a cancellation fee. You know, if you're gonna take a rental listing and you're putting a lot of work into it, I would think, and then all of a sudden the landlord says, you know what, I'm not gonna rent it out. I found somebody, blah, blah, blah. You know, I would think about a cancellation fee.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. And I would do at least $500. You
Right.
know, you're taking photos, potentially doing a video, advertising the property, taking your time, putting in the MLS, at
Yep.
least $500.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, here's a good one. Anybody but Freddie, broker relationship. Owner authorizes broker to act as, check which is applicable. Single agent transaction. What? Why did you say that, Brenda?
Oh, I thought you said anybody but Freddie,
Yeah. So why did
What
you say
did-
transaction broker?
because we are only transaction brokers.
Yes. Absolutely.
So for those of you that don't know, at HomeSmart, we are all transaction brokers in Florida. You are never a single agent capacity. You never work as a single agent capacity.
Okay,
Okay?
additional
Always
clauses.
a transaction broker. What does that actually mean? The difference is, does anyone know the difference between single agency and transaction broker?
Absolutely. Everybody
Anyone
knows.
know?
Renee,
Come
go
on.
ahead. Chime in.
No, I'm
Wes,
not.
come on.
Somebody tell me.
The transaction broker works with their mutual, works with the seller and the buyer. Your mutual, you have
It was
different.
part of your test. Come on.
I just said it.
You're
not
close.
exactly.
You're close. You're not exactly, but you're
Working
close.
in
Go ahead.
like
So- Let me put it
a
in different
limited
words. So,
capacity
Oh, somebody's onto something. Not limited capacity,
or
limited.
limited,
Starts with a C.
confidentiality.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So give me
if
a
you're
minute.
sing-
Yeah.
There you go. So basically, as a transaction broker, I mean, as we say in Florida Realtors and all the other associations I'm with, disclose, disclose, disclose. So basically, any known material facts about the property, disclose. Okay.
Now
Don't
that's
keep
part of
secrets.
whatever broker relationship that's part of it, right?
Correct.
But the difference between transactional broker and single agent is absolute confidentiality as opposed to limited confidentiality and loyalty.
Loyalty.
And
Right.
representation, right?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about, but what type of representation?
Well, as a transaction broker, we represent the transaction, not the party.
Well,
That's
technically you
correct also.
represent the party, but the duties are different. Okay. So we went over this, we talked about agency and the difference, right? You have 9 responsibilities as a single agent, you have 7 responsibilities as a transaction broker. The only thing omitted from the list when you're talking about a transactional broker is the confidentiality,
Okay.
right? Because it becomes limited confidentiality as a transaction broker, and loyalty, because you're not loyal to one person or another. You're still representing people. Please don't take
Okay.
me wrong, but you're representing the transaction above all else. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
And you're loyal to the transaction, but not to either party. Does
Right.
that make sense?
You can't take
Exactly.
sides.
Uh-huh.
You can't say,
Exactly.
oh, well, I'm representing the seller because this is my listing. That's not true.
And that's what people say all the time, which is funny.
That's why I don't like when people say it's my client. You can say it's my
Uh-huh.
buyer or it's my seller. But yeah, you're a transaction broker. You actually represent the transaction, not a party.
Okay. So additional clauses down here. This is the last part, right? Additional clauses. So if you have things that don't really fit in the boxes up on the pages above, right? That's where you'd write this in here. Can you think of an example, Freddie?
Well, I mean, somebody mentioned it before. I think Sabina was asking where can we put this? So anything in particular, geez, I don't know. Property will not be rented for a certain period of the year. Maybe the owner wants to come down for a month every year, so property will not be listed for December rent, or who knows? There's so many things that the landlord could ask. Additional pet rent, that's a good one. I don't know, to be honest with you, there's so many things that can be.
What about property being subleased, cannot be subleased?
Well, that would be in the lease agreement itself.
Correct.
I mean, if the owner says that to you, okay, great. But most lease agreements say that it cannot be subleased.
Gotcha.
And if they allow it, then there's a little box you have to check off that they can sublease.
Yeah.
And most landlords will not allow subleases.
Okay. All right.
Question, how do we get paid? How does that process work?
Okay, we'll go back up to that part.
No, I mean, I understand what this
Oh,
says, but through
okay.
HomeSmart, how does that work?
Absolutely. You have them, cut the entire check to HomeSmart. So let's say it's $2,000 a month. You get 100% of the commission. You find the tenant as well. You get a check for $2,000. You take a picture, scan the check, and you send it to the closing department and upload it to the file. Okay, closing packets at homesmart.move. .homesmart.move. .homesmart.com. At homesmart.com. Okay, closing packets at homesmart.com or commissions at homesmart.com. Don't send it to both though. And they will turn around and cut you a check in the next day or two.
Yeah, you get an electronic check.
Yep.
Which is
Email.
emailed to you. You can print it up. You can take a picture of it and deposit it into your phone app. It's a cool system. So
It's
you get
cool.
an electronic check within usually 24 hours. Valid
Just like
check, there
this.
it is. See, so HomeSmart just paid you $500. You view and print your check. And then actually, after you print it, you can actually just take a picture and deposit it into your app.
Sign the back. Now, what I did learn is you cannot deposit this into an ATM.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my wife
So just
got
go
a
up to
check.
the teller. The teller will
Yeah.
take it.
Or take a picture from your phone. But I've noticed with mine, because we make so much money, clearly. But no, sometimes you have a good month, right? And there's maybe a $12,000 deposit limit that you can do from your phone, and you'll get a check for $15,000, and then you got to bring it into the teller. You can't do an ATM.
A lot of times deposits over 10 grand, they're looking at you anyway, right? IRS, everybody
Yeah.
else.
So any questions about that? That's pretty much wraps up this training for today.
I got a question, but it's regarding listings.
Yep.
So I'm posting a listing right now. You know where you select whether if it's a full service or limited service? Does that pertain to transaction broker or single agency?
No, that pertains to what you're actually, so limited service means you have maybe you're charging a flat fee and you're not doing anything else. You're just putting it on the MLS for them. So you're not doing contracts, you're not negotiating. All you're doing is you're doing certain specific jobs of your service, limited service.
Okay. So it'd be full service then if you're representing.
You're always full service with us.
Yeah. So the next one is do you ever put a commission on the non-rep? And is that usually like an attorney?
That is an attorney. So a non-rep means that this person has no representation with any brokerage, who is that? That's an attorney in Florida, right? They don't have to have their license hung with a brokerage to sell real estate because they're attorneys. So non-brokerage relationship, or you can also be a non-brokerage relationship. Let's say it's your listing and you have a buyer call you directly and he says, well, I'd like to put an offer, but I don't need a real estate agent. So you're still a transaction broker, but at the end of the day, your only commitment is to the seller. You understand? Does that make sense?
If you put 0% on the non-rep, then if somebody comes and they don't have an agent that represents them, then you can't get the other 3% on the buyer
No,
side?
you're a transaction broker, so you can collect both sides.
Okay.
So your listing agreement will cover that. If there is no buyer's agent, but let's say the buyer says, I don't want an agent. Now he's coming in as a non-broker. He has a non-brokerage, so there's no commissions to be paid on that side. You get it?
Yeah. I mean, do you have to specify something in the listing agreement to be able to act on both sides, the buyer side and seller side?
What do you mean to be No, you're a transaction broker.
Okay.
you have to specify.
You automatically enter the listing
Yeah.
as a transaction broker. You can represent both sides. There's
Sure.
nothing special to be done.
Well,
Sure.
Wes,
And you're allowed to collect commissions on both sides as well.
Okay, yeah, you just submit, the
Yeah,
contract.
non-brokerage is
buyer.
typically an attorney. And the last case scenario would be the buyer wants to come in and submit an offer, but he doesn't want any representation from any realtor. So you're not being listed on the contract as the buyer's agent. You're only listed as the listing agent, okay?
Yeah. Now, do you
And
like?
I would have the buyer fill out a non-brokerage relationship, which there's a form for that as well. So
Oh, yeah.
if he's disclosing he doesn't want an agent,
all right, Freddie and I
he's
got to
still
jump
entitled
off.
to collect both sides though, Wes, okay?
Freddie,
Sure. Thank
got
you.
more in a huddle. 1 minute.
Yeah, we gotta go. Sorry,
All right.
guys.
Hey,
Got to go do
Hey,
broker
hey,
stuff.
wait. One thing, Jeremy and Freddie, please. I have one request. If you can have the Tampa lunch, not on the 1st or the 15th of July, I'll be there. I'm
Not
gonna
on
be
the
here.
what?
Not on July 1st, not on July 8th.
No. It's the last week of June. 2 weeks. I'll be putting it out.
That's July 1.
No. Well, 2 weeks from today is July 1. I'm saying, okay, a week and a half. Today's Wednesday. I'm sorry. Like towards the 20 something. Where's my calendar?
Okay, if it's during the week, I'm good. If it's on that 1st or 8th, I won't
The
be there.
24th. Freddie.
Yeah, somewhere around the week of the 24th. Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean Ryan. Thank you for
Bye,
being here,
guys.
buddy.
Gotta go. Got another Zoom.
All right, zoom in. Bye. Bye, everyone.